Ever notice how some people walk into a room and instantly command respect without raising their voice, showing off, or demanding attention? It's not luck and it's not power, it's class, the kind of quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove itself. Today, we're breaking down 8 classy habits that make people stop, listen, and respect you without you saying a word. Respect is never something you can demand or force. It's something that naturally grows from how you carry yourself and treat others. The first step toward commanding real respect is realizing that people don't listen to what you say as much as they watch what you do. Behavior tells the truth long before words do. When someone acts with integrity, keeps their promises, and treats people consistently with kindness and fairness, that becomes their reputation. People begin to see them as reliable, grounded, and trustworthy. That is the foundation of quiet authority. It's not about being perfect, it's about showing up in a way that others can depend on. You can talk about values all day long, but the moment you cut corners, break your word, or let your emotions control you, people notice. They may not say it, but they file it away. Respect erodes quietly when actions don't match words, and once that trust is lost, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. That's why true respect comes from alignment, when what you say, what you believe, and what you do all point in the same direction. In a world full of noise, people remember those who stay composed and consistent. Someone who handles situations calmly, even when they're frustrating or unfair, shows a kind of strength that's impossible to ignore. It doesn't come from dominance or intimidation. It comes from emotional control. The person who doesn't need to react to every provocation, who doesn't argue just to be right, creates an unspoken standard. People respect that because most are quick to defend, to explain, to prove themselves. But the one who stays steady demonstrates power. It takes discipline to stay calm when others lose their cool. It takes maturity to hold your ground without having to raise your voice. Respect naturally flows toward those who have mastered themselves. When you can't be easily shaken, others subconsciously sense that you have something they don't: stability, awareness, and self-command. Small gestures matter too. Saying thank you, acknowledging effort, showing up on time, paying attention when someone speaks. These things might seem minor, but they add up to a reputation of respect. People are drawn to those who make others feel seen and valued without expecting anything in return. That's how leaders are born, not through titles, but through presence. You don't need to announce that you deserve respect. Your consistent behavior communicates it for you. The way you treat the waiter, the security guard, or the colleague who can't offer you anything in return says more about your character than anything you post or say in a meeting. It's that quiet discipline of doing the right thing when no one's watching that builds credibility. Earning respect also means having boundaries that are clear and steady. When you respect yourself enough to say no when necessary, to protect your time and energy, people start respecting you more. They may test those boundaries at first, but when they see you don't bend to pressure or manipulation, they adjust. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you allow disrespect or constantly explain yourself to be understood, you give away your power. But when you calmly stand firm, you communicate self-respect. People can sense that you value yourself, and that sets the tone for how they should value you too. The most respected people don't chase validation or approval. They focus on their actions, their consistency, and their purpose. They understand that real respect isn't instant. It's built slowly through years of showing up the same way, even when it's inconvenient. Over time, that reliability becomes your strength. People start to trust your judgment because they've seen your discipline. They admire your calm because they've seen you stay composed when others lost control. And that's when respect becomes effortless, not because you asked for it, but because you earned it through the quiet power of your behavior. Class is the balance between confidence and humility, and it's one of the rarest traits you'll ever see. Most people swing too far to one side. They either come off as arrogant, constantly needing to prove themselves, or they shrink back, doubting their worth and playing small. True class sits right in the middle. It's knowing your value so deeply that you don't have to announce it, and respecting others enough that you don't need to diminish them to feel important. It's walking into a room without trying to be the center of attention, but somehow still drawing attention because of the calm energy you carry. Confidence gives you strength, but humility keeps you grounded, and when both exist together, people feel that balance. It's magnetic. You don't have to compete because you understand that everyone has their own lane, and you're secure in yours. Confidence without humility becomes ego. Humility without confidence becomes weakness. The secret is blending both so naturally that neither overshadows the other. When someone truly has class, they don't brag about achievements or use them to prove their worth. They let their work, their character, and their consistency speak for them. They understand that being respected isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the most composed one. When you speak, your words have weight because you don't waste them trying to sound impressive. You choose calm over chaos, listening over interrupting, and understanding over judgment. People remember that kind of composure because it's rare. In a world full of people desperate to be seen, the one who stays grounded becomes unforgettable. Class also means having the ability to celebrate others without feeling threatened. It's easy to admire someone when you feel secure in yourself, but insecurity makes people competitive and defensive. When you can genuinely be happy for someone else's success without comparing it to your own, you show strength of character. That quiet assurance tells others that you know who you are and where you're going. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. The truly classy person never needs to remind others of their worth because their actions, tone, and behavior do it for them. They don't gossip, they don't boast, and they don't need validation to feel relevant. They just live in alignment with their values, and that authenticity commands respect. Humility also means staying teachable, no matter how experienced or successful you become. It's the mindset that there's always something to learn, always a new perspective to understand. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing. Classy people are curious. They listen to people others might ignore. They ask questions instead of pretending to know everything. That open-mindedness makes them approachable and respected at the same time. It shows they value people, not positions. Their confidence comes from a deep sense of self, not from comparison or control. That's why others feel at ease around them. They don't have to prove anything. They just show up as their authentic selves, and that quiet self-assurance is powerful. The balance between confidence and humility is what keeps your presence light but impactful. When you're confident, you don't fear mistakes or criticism because you know your worth isn't tied to perfection. When you're humble, you don't let pride blind you from growth. Together, they create a kind of grace that can't be faked. People trust you more because they sense your sincerity. They admire you because your confidence inspires without intimidating, and your humility comforts without weakening. That's the essence of true class. Knowing your power, but choosing to carry it gently. Understanding your value, but never needing to prove it. Standing tall, but never looking down on anyone. And that quiet equilibrium between self-assurance and respect for others becomes the reason people naturally respect you. Quiet strength leaves a louder impact than forced dominance. And that is something people instantly recognize even if they can't explain why. The ones who carry quiet strength don't need to make noise to be noticed. Their calm presence speaks for them. You can feel it in the way they handle tension, how they stay steady when others panic, and how they speak with intention rather than volume. It's not about controlling others, it's about controlling yourself. People are drawn to that kind of composure because it's rare in a world where most respond with impulse and ego. Quiet strength is a sign of discipline, of emotional maturity, and of inner stability. It's the confidence that comes from knowing who you are and not needing to prove it to anyone. When someone carries that energy, respect naturally follows because others can sense that they are grounded, secure, and not easily shaken. The truth is, anyone can act tough, but very few can stay calm when things fall apart. Loudness is easy, patience takes strength. Arguing, defending, proving your worth, all of that can make you seem powerful for a moment, but it fades quickly because it's reactive. The real power is in restraint. It's being able to listen to someone who misunderstands you and still keep your peace. It's walking away from situations that don't deserve your energy instead of trying to win every battle. That's what quiet strength looks like. It's control over reaction, not over people. When you show that kind of maturity, others see you as someone who operates from self-respect rather than insecurity. You become someone they can trust because your emotions don't run the show. You're not unpredictable or easily provoked, and that stability earns admiration without you having to ask for it. Quiet strength also changes how people feel around you. It creates an atmosphere of safety where others can be themselves without fear of judgment or chaos. Strong people don't need to dominate conversations or prove superiority. They let their presence do the work. Their confidence isn't aggressive, it's steady. They speak when they have something meaningful to say, and when they listen, they give full attention. That makes their words matter more because they don't waste them. Their silence is thoughtful, not empty. Even when they disagree, they stay composed, and that ability to handle conflict gracefully is a mark of real authority. People notice how you react under pressure, not how loud you can be in calm moments. When you remain steady while others lose balance, it shows strength that words can't capture. Quiet strength is built from experience, from learning to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. It's the result of facing challenges, disappointments, and conflicts, and choosing not to let them harden you. It's when you've seen enough chaos to understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. You learn that not every situation deserves a reaction, and not everyone deserves a response. The louder someone tries to assert dominance, the more they reveal their insecurity. But the one who stays calm and collected communicates power in silence. That kind of composure doesn't come from pretending to be strong. It comes from genuinely knowing your worth and being anchored in it. People who possess quiet strength don't need validation because they already have inner assurance. They don't chase control, they embody it. They understand that leadership isn't about being above others. It's about guiding through steadiness and example. Their influence lasts because it's rooted in authenticity, not fear or force. Others gravitate toward them because they feel balanced, respected, and understood in their presence. Quiet strength doesn't shout for attention. It earns it naturally. It's the energy that turns heads without trying, the calm that settles a room, the posture that tells others you're not here to compete, you're here to contribute. It's the subtle force that reminds people real power never has to prove itself. Emotional control defines true maturity, and it's one of the clearest indicators of self-respect and inner strength. Anyone can act confident when things go their way, but real composure is tested in moments of frustration, disappointment, or anger. The ability to stay grounded when emotions run high separates those who react impulsively from those who respond with wisdom. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing feelings, it means understanding them, managing them, and choosing not to let them dictate your behavior. When someone has mastered their emotions, they carry a sense of calm that others can feel. They don't get easily thrown off balance by criticism or disrespect because they've learned that losing control only gives away power. People notice that kind of restraint. They respect those who can face chaos without becoming part of it because it shows strength that most don't have. The truth is, emotions are powerful, and if you don't control them, they will control you. Anger can make you say things you don't mean. Pride can make you make choices you regret. and fear can make you shrink back from opportunities meant for you. Maturity is knowing how to pause before reacting, how to think before speaking, and how to evaluate what truly deserves your energy. Emotional control is not about indifference, it's about discipline. It's learning how to protect your peace in a world that constantly tries to provoke it. You can be passionate and kind without being impulsive or defensive. When you maintain emotional balance, you're not just keeping your dignity, you're setting the tone for how others should treat you. People automatically respect someone who can handle difficult moments with grace because it shows that they operate from strength, not weakness. The most emotionally controlled people understand that reactions are choices. They know that silence can often speak louder than words, and walking away can sometimes be the strongest statement. Instead of matching someone's energy when they're angry or disrespectful, they remain composed. That doesn't mean they tolerate mistreatment. It means they decide when and how to respond in a way that maintains self-respect. They refuse to let others pull them into emotional chaos. That kind of discipline makes them stand out, especially in situations where others lose control. You can always tell who's truly strong by how they behave when things get uncomfortable. Emotional control is like armor. It doesn't make you invincible, but it keeps you protected. It keeps you from saying things you'll regret, from reacting out of ego, and from letting temporary emotions cause permanent damage. It takes deep self-awareness to achieve that level of control. You have to know your triggers, understand your emotional patterns, and recognize when your ego tries to take over. It's not about pretending you don't feel anything. It's about being honest with yourself and managing those feelings in a way that aligns with your values. When you know who you are, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You stop taking things personally because you realize that most of what people say or do has more to do with them than with you. That understanding allows you to stay centered while others lose balance. Emotional control comes from confidence, and confidence comes from self-knowledge. Once you're secure in who you are, no one else's opinion can easily shake you. People with emotional control naturally become leaders, not because they demand authority, but because others trust them. They bring calm to conflict, stability to chaos, and direction when things feel uncertain. Their presence reassures people that everything will be okay because they don't react. They respond. They don't let emotions cloud their judgment, and that level of discipline earns respect everywhere they go. The power of emotional control lies in knowing that no one can truly take your peace unless you hand it over. When you understand that your response determines your outcome, you stop letting every situation decide your mood. You carry yourself with quiet strength, measured composure, and calm confidence, and that emotional steadiness becomes your greatest source of respect. Small, consistent habits shape how others perceive your worth, and it's often the little things you do daily that build or break the respect you receive. People pay attention to patterns, not moments. Anyone can act kind once, be confident once, or show up once, but it's consistency that defines credibility. The way you greet others, the way you keep your word, the way you handle responsibilities, even the way you maintain your space, all of these actions tell a story about who you are. Respect grows when people know what to expect from you. It's not about perfection, it's about reliability. When you consistently show up with integrity, when you do what you say you'll do even when it's inconvenient, and when you treat people with the same level of courtesy regardless of who they are, you quietly build a reputation of trustworthiness. That's what makes people respect you without you having to demand it. Class and respect aren't built in dramatic moments, but in the steady rhythm of everyday life. It's in being punctual because you value others' time, in keeping your promises even when no one would hold you accountable, in being polite to strangers, and in speaking thoughtfully instead of carelessly. People notice those patterns more than they notice your words. Every small act adds up, forming the image of someone who's dependable, disciplined, and self-aware. The truth is, consistency is what separates those who merely talk about their values from those who live by them. You don't need to tell anyone you're reliable. Your behavior tells the story every day. When you act with quiet discipline, others start to trust your word because you've proven it through action over time. Respect becomes automatic when you've shown people again and again that you mean what you say. Small habits also reveal how much respect you have for yourself. When you take care of your appearance, stay organized, and keep your word even in private, you send a message to yourself first and then to everyone else that you value who you are. Self-respect isn't loud. It's reflected in the decisions you make when no one's watching. It's waking up early when you said you would. It's finishing what you start. It's choosing honesty over convenience. When you live that way, others feel it. They may not always comment on it, but they adjust their tone and attitude around you because they see the standard you've set. Small, consistent actions create boundaries without words. They communicate that you respect yourself enough to maintain discipline, and that naturally commands respect from others. The consistency in your behavior also determines how people trust your emotions and reactions. When you're predictable in your composure, when you handle stress or disagreement calmly, people begin to rely on your stability. They know they can approach you without fear of chaos or unpredictability. That reliability becomes your strength. It makes others value your perspective because they know it's coming from balance, not impulse. The people who gain quiet respect are the ones who have mastered their routines, their responses, and their relationships through intention. They don't let laziness, mood, or circumstance dictate their behavior. Their habits align with their character, and that's what creates lasting respect. Even in small interactions, such as remembering names, offering help without being asked, or maintaining eye contact when speaking, your habits reflect emotional intelligence and awareness. People feel respected in your presence, and that feeling makes them respect you back. Over time, these seemingly small actions form an identity that others admire. You don't need to announce your discipline or your standards. Your consistency makes it clear. People begin to see you as dependable, grounded, and trustworthy because you've proven it through repetition. The world respects stability, and stability is built through habits. Every small choice adds up, every action shapes perception, and every consistent effort silently tells others that you are someone who values quality, integrity, and respect in everything you do.